welcome everybody. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody to our Daly City Library Board of Trustees meeting for September, today the 21st, 2021. And I would like to call this meeting to order at 6:03. Shall we stand to say and pledge of allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Thank you. Okay. May I please have the roll call?
Sure. Trustee Doss.
Present.
Trustee Santos.
Present.
And President Faupua.
Present.
All accounted for.
Okay. I hope everybody have a chance to read, to go through the agenda today. And if there's no updates, I'd like to motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I motion.
Second,
I second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. So for the minutes of meeting July 21st, is there a motion to move?
Motion. I motion.
And second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Would like to maybe have director's report, please.
Sure. I'm very pleased to introduce again our wonderful CRAE team. CRAE stands for Cultivating Racial Equity and Inclusion. And we have 3 great members of the library team who have really taken a leadership role in this. And they will be presenting a presentation to recommend elimination of overdue fines, which are currently paused. And so we have Selena Torona, who is a library assistant at the Westlake Library, Sarah Spence, as you know, our youth services librarian, and we have Allison Green, who's a library assistant at our Ceremony Main Library. And I believe, Selena, you will be sharing your screen.
Is it up?
It is.
Can you see my notes? Cool. Okay. So hi, everyone. You've met me. I'm Selena Torona, and I'm here with our CREI team. So Sarah Spence and Allison Green are also here, and we have a presentation to potentially go fine free. So let's get started. Yeah. Okay. So for our introduction, for the purpose of this presentation, the word fines applies to daily charges for late items. This doesn't apply to items that are lost, damaged, or unreturned and need to be replaced. I've got 2 quotes on this slide. So one from the American Library Association, which released a resolution in 2019 regarding monetary library fines as a form of social inequity, and one from the Portland Public Library, which I think perfectly sums up the reason behind fine elimination. So research shows—
Lena, you might want to advance your slides. We're still on the intro.
Oh no, why? Okay, one sec. Let me see if I can— okay, are you seeing it now?
Still on the intro slide.
Okay, give me a sec. I'm going to restart that then. Sorry. Okay. Hopefully this time it does everything. Okay. How we looking? Good.
It's coming. It's there.
Okay. And you don't see my notes.
No, it looks great, Selena.
Perfect. Okay, so that quote from Portland. Research shows that while people are equal in returning books after the due date, they are not equal in their ability to pay overdue fees and thus lose access to the library. This disproportionately harms people of color and people from lower income households. We believe this policy change is essential to build a more equitable society. So the shift towards going fine-free has been happening throughout the US and North America, with the Urban Libraries Council having listed 272 public libraries last October, with the number continuing to grow. As of now, or end of last month when I made this, the list had 367 entries, and that's only the libraries that have been reported to the Urban Libraries Council. So there are loads more. Like within the Bay Area alone, the list is missing like 8 libraries. So to give you a look at what that looks like, is it advancing? No, what is happening? This totally worked when I was testing it out. Wait,
There we
There
go.
you go. There you go.
okay, great. So on this slide, you can see the libraries in our library system that have gotten rid of late fines, as well as some of the other libraries in the Bay Area that have chosen to eliminate late fines. So in 2018, the San Mateo County libraries eliminated late fines, followed by Redwood City and Burlingame last July. And then this year, South San Francisco, Menlo Park, San Bruno, and the city of San Mateo have all been approved to eliminate fines as well. So we are the only library in San Mateo County that has not yet eliminated late fines.
Oh no.
Yeah. Didn't move?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Thank you. We have been taking steps towards this since 2016, when the entire Peninsula Library System chose to eliminate late fines for children. And then in 2018, we extended this to young adults aged 18 and 19. In 2019, we automated our renewal system, allowing patrons to keep their items for as long as possible without needing to log into our website or contact the library to renew their items. And then since the start of the pandemic, we've not charged late fees for returned items, and we hope to make this change permanent. So if we get rid of fines, what would change? Here are the changes that going fine-free will lead to: greater social equity, creating a positive patron perception of the library, fewer negative staff interactions, and a small loss of revenue when compared to the cost of staff time spent on collecting fines. So the changes here are positive overall. First off, eliminating fines will provide equitable access to library materials. So when providing their reasoning for going fine-free, San Francisco found that teachers, graduate students, and those facing housing insecurity struggled with late fines. Besides children who already have the benefit of not having late fines, these are people who may need library materials for longer periods or may have difficulty accessing and returning what they borrow. Libraries are meant to benefit those who cannot afford to access their materials on their own, and finding these patrons who already struggle with access is unfair. In terms of patron relationships with the library, I have like a personal story to share. When I was in high school, I had a required reading book from the Contra Costa County Library, and I had it for so long that I got billed for it. And because of that, I stopped going there. And in my time as an employee, I've seen so many parents tell their kids that they won't be coming back to the library after having to pay off like large balances on their accounts because the risk of it happening again is too high. Getting rid of fines would make the library more welcoming because scenarios like these and what I described earlier wouldn't happen. Did I miss something? No. Oh. So getting rid of these negative experiences would help library staff as well. Fines take up a lot of staff time in terms of explanations and collecting payments, and that time is better spent forming positive patron relationships and creating positive library experiences. Lastly, fines make up less than 1% of the library's revenue. Eliminating them will not create a financial burden on the library and would be beneficial overall. So moving on to Chayla, who's got some explanations on our current policy.
So yes, so we have a list of our current fines and fees that we wanted to share with you. As you can see, a lot of the top part is made up of those fines. The fines for children's accounts were eliminated, as Selena pointed out, but adult accounts checking out children's items still had fines. It created a lot of confusion, and so that section would be affected by this. If you want to go to the next slide, maybe, Selena. Excellent, thanks. This maybe better shows the changes that are being proposed. So you can see we would completely eliminate that top section that explains all the convoluted information about fines. There's also a couple of other small changes we'd like to propose today, and that one of them is simply a wording of correcting the collection agency service fee to it's just a materials recovery service fee. We contract with a service for that. Adding in the low cost reprocessing fee, which always existed, it just wasn't memorialized in the list of fees, and clarifying that lost or damaged items have a replacement fee that varies depending on the item. And then finally, next to finally, we had an ILL fee on our records, but we are no longer providing that service, so we would propose eliminating that from our list of fines and fees. And finally, we're also looking at the library card replacement fee, which is another sticking point with a lot of patrons who end up kind of disenfranchised from the library. If they have misplaced their card, they've moved or whatever, we find that most frequently when we're replacing a card, the person in question may not even remember having had an account. And so charging them that fee has been an unwelcoming return to the library for them. So we're also proposing that. So those are what we're putting forward today for you guys to discuss and hopefully recommend.
Okay. My gollies, are there any questions or any conversations about the fines and fees policy, the changes, and about the presentation?
No, I have a clarification question, but for the most part, I mean, I remember before we had that break of a month, we were really excited as a set of trustees around the possibility of eliminating fines. So that's really exciting for me. I'm really happy to see it. I think just clarification, did I also hear, Chayla, there's a question around that $10 fee that you were saying it just got memorialized. Is that also a question that you all want us to discuss?
So no, we had listed from before my time a collection agency fee. This is a fee to recover a cost that we spend when we actually just end up sending people notices, and so it's more correctly referred to as a materials recovery fee. And so we just wanted to make that change. It's
okay.
just a
it's like a note.
Yeah.
Got it, yeah. But otherwise, I don't have questions. I think I do want to just uplift thank you, Selena, for laying out and the team for laying out just the work that you all have been doing on a longer term basis, and the shifts that have happened. That's been really good. I think, yeah, not a suggestion to y'all, but it's definitely a model. I'm really curious about how we can grow the model that you all are doing throughout the city, because I just think y'all are doing some good work as a library team.
Okay.
Yeah, I echo what Justine said. I think with the materials recovery fee, because I had a question what that was, maybe in parentheses, kind of just a brief explanation of what it is. And then, yeah, I appreciate the presentation, and I appreciated also seeing how different libraries in different cities are also doing this. And so it's good to know that, it's not just us, but it's us as a collective. And so I'm excited to also grow this in different areas too.
I appreciate the presentation, Selena. All the effort that was put in to collect those informations. I also appreciate the fact that the group were able to right away able to make some modify that policy, and I would like to have that happen right away.
Yeah,
I appreciate.
Oh, go
I
ahead. Sorry.
appreciate the story that you told about how you felt you were in that shoe. Growing up back home, we only have the school library and the one big public library in the town to go to, and everything was free. We only had to pay if we lost an item. But this is really good. I'm just questioning, why did we not make it happen a long time ago? So I guess it's timing. And with what everybody's going through, this is another plus, especially for all the bookworms out there, the new generation children that loves books. So thank you so much for the presentation. So Mr. Stoke, so if we were to go, I have a questions for the policy, for the modification of the policy. That will be the last official approval will be from the council, and then it will be noted
Correct.
or official. Okay.
Correct. So we've heard your feedback today. It's all in support of the changes. So the next step we would take is to bring it to City Council, and we would note that in the staff report that the library board was fully endorsed the policy changes.
Now, do we need to vote on it or no?
There's really no need to vote.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Okay. The next one is proposed changes to behavior policy.
Yeah, so I have a little presentation on this as well. So just for some background, this body had requested to go ahead and look at our various policies. We have a number of them. You can read them on the website. And this particular policy, the behavior policy, came up recently because there were questions about one of the items, and I'll talk about that. And we thought it might be a good time to go ahead and do some other little updates that seemed appropriate. So I've got 5 proposed changes for you guys to take a look at and give us feedback on. And can you see my screen? Yes, excellent. Okay. So the first of the proposed changes is not a super substantial change. It's just some clarification around the wording related to food and drink. So the library doesn't allow eating in the policy. You can see the current wording is under prohibited activities. We have eating, and then it says drinking may be restricted at some locations. And so we wanted to, eliminate the unspecified location, which isn't that helpful to patrons who then wouldn't have a sense of where they could or couldn't have a drink, and also to specify that it needed to be in a closed container, which is, both of those are pretty common policies in libraries. The closed container is just to keep things from spilling, or hopefully prevent things from spilling. And then I did want to add a small note related to this, that due to COVID and the mask requirement in the library, we do have a temporary prohibition against any kind of eating or drinking. And the reason for that is, of course, you have to take off your mask to take a drink of water. So we are asking people to step outside to do that. At this time, that is solely related to the mask requirement. And so this proposed wording would go into effect once that's lifted. So it would, the proposed wording would be: eating is prohibited, beverages permitted if in closed containers. And then this is actually a new component that a lot of other libraries' behavior policies do include mention of staff-only areas, and ours, for reasons I don't know, just didn't include that. And we felt like that was probably a good thing to include, since we do have obviously the behind the desk area as well as some back workspaces. And they're set up for staff to use, not for the public to enter. There may be, we do collect money. We do have sometimes confidential information, people's library accounts and things like that up. So we do need to keep those areas for staff only. So we wanted to include that in the policy as well. And this is a very small change. One of the members of our management team noted that the wording around obstructing furniture or areas of the library seemed to be kind of targeted in certain ways using very overly specific words like skateboards and scooters and things like that. And we just wanted to simplify that language and focus on the behavior and what the consequence of it is, which is it's obstructing an area rather than the specific item that might be causing that obstruction. Photography and filming, we had under prohibited activities, photographing library staff or patrons without their permission, but we wanted to make sure that we're carefully targeting this policy to address what would be problematic photography and filming without intruding on any protected types of activities. So the proposed changed wording would be prohibiting photography and filming that interferes with library operations or infringes on the rights of library patrons to access knowledge and information freely and confidentially. So to really put forward, the rights of the library users there. And then this last one was a real small thing, but we had smoking, obviously a prohibited thing within the library. And I don't think vaping was a thing when this was probably written up. So we just wanted to go ahead and add vaping since it's a newer thing that similarly pollutes your shared indoor air and puts harmful chemicals out there for other people to possibly breathe. So we wanted to make sure that was covered as well. I don't believe anyone's tried it, but just in case. And so again, this is the behavior policy as it is right now. You can find it on the website, and did not come up properly. The changes would be the eating here and the obstructing aisles and the photography and then the smoking and vaping. So they're small changes, but hopefully they make this an even better, more targeted tool that staff can use to ensure that the library is really a welcoming place where everyone can do what they need to do without running into problems or being interfered with.
Okay. I have a question. When I was looking at this today and last night, and some things were stood out for me was the odors, the scents, and body hygiene. I was like, oh wow, we have something like that. So if we have, question is, if we have, I know that we're receiving, and Daly Sitting is getting a lot of individuals who are, without a home, or should I just say homeless, and would they come in to use the bathroom if they want to use the bathroom? Is that allowed? And if they want to come in and read a book or to use the internet, how does that affect that part right there, odors and scents and bodily hygiene?
So we definitely have people fairly regularly who have uneven or without housing coming into the library. This came up, I remember it well, it was many, many years ago. We have on occasion had some visitors that had, I would describe, fairly extreme hygiene issues that it just was very difficult to be around them. There's just an involuntary, reaction that happens. And so, we always encourage anyone who isn't able to use the library to try and connect them with services so that they can get their clothes cleaned, get themselves cleaned, and come back into the library, because we do want, obviously, to be as welcoming as possible, but we also don't want to end up in a situation where one person can make an entire section or a whole library very difficult for everyone else to use. So that is why it was kept in there, but it is always something that we are very sensitive about, because we don't want to make the space unwelcoming for especially someone who
Absolutely.
most needs it. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to make it welcoming instead.
Absolutely.
So photography and filming, in events of board of trustees coming in, and if an event's in there and taking pictures and with some of the public and stuff like that, how are we sure and know that later on, whoever were involved in those pictures, those patrons, have consent for their pictures to be posted?
So this has come up because we do like to take pictures back pre-COVID when we would have, special events in the library. So the way that staff have approached that is, if we're coming up to a family, for example, obviously we would seek a verbal permission. If it's a large group, we try and photograph as much as possible from behind. We always make sure that everyone is aware that we're photographing. It's not something we do a lot. And occasionally someone will take a picture either, for for a souvenir or something like that of our shelves, or if somebody's worked really hard on a display or something like that. I've seen various photos posted online of different parts of the library. But the key for us is we just wanted to make sure that that photographing and filming that intruded on people's privacy and their right to not have that chilling effect of somebody filming them, that scrutiny.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you so much. Those were my questions, and thank you for elaborating that with me. My other colleagues, any input or any comments or any suggestion or?
Yeah, I think some things that are coming up for me. And I was actually wondering, Taylor, if you wouldn't mind. I feel like I need to look at the previous slides another time, but we can stay here for now. I think around the odors, I think I'm holding a disability justice, like accessibility lens. And I think a little bit piggybacking on what Teresa was naming of like folks. And I think both the odor one, and then I'm also looking at this one around like disruptive conduct. Like I'm kind of seeing some potential of having some like subjective perceptions around these particular things. So I'm curious if like those could be spelled out a little bit more, particularly around disruptive conduct. And I'm just like holding just like what I know is especially real for like a lot of young people, and how disruptive can, that could just be like interpreted in so many different ways. And so I just want to be mindful of that and like what the library really means or classifies as disruptive. And then I'm wondering around the odors, something we might explore. Some kind of agreements that I've seen other spaces hold this is less around like odors being a nuisance, but just overall encouraging scent free. So like maybe there could be a policy around like encouraging folks to come into the library scent free versus kind of naming what could be a nuisance. I think that again could be subjective. And I'm definitely learning a little bit from like the DEI training that we were just on around like bias and things like that. So those are some of the things for me. And then around food, yeah, again, like I'm holding like young people, and as like a young person growing up, like libraries were kind of directly where I went after school. So I'm just like thinking, folks are needing to eat. So it's really good to see the permission in the closed container. I know some policies I've also seen have just been like having some specified areas on where it makes sense for food and drinks to be allowed. So that might be something to explore and consider as well.
Yeah, I know some of the larger libraries like the Redwood City Main Library has, that teen space. Unfortunately, we don't really have that necessarily anywhere in our libraries except maybe the community room. All the library staff are very conscientious about how they do enforce this. And we always want to start with just asking, just like with the masks, just ask somebody, could you pull up your mask, or can you just hold the basketball rather than bouncing the basketball, that sort of thing. So it's not necessarily to eject somebody from the library if they're doing something. It's just to really specify so that people know what to expect about what they can and can't do within the library. The odors one, I remember when it was added, and that one is definitely one of the more sensitive ones. I will, the one time that I did have to ask somebody to leave. It was definitely a hygiene issue. So we do want to have some sort of tools, but obviously we want to connect somebody with services as well. So, I've always felt a little ambivalent around that one as well, because I hear what you're saying. For the disruptive conduct, I think, like I said, the first thing is to just approach and let the person know, what you're doing is, people can hear that from far away. Please, lower your voice or whatever it is.
I pretty much echo what Justine and Teresa said, so we're like all on the same page.
Okay. Yeah, if we can just, I would like to endorse this, but maybe have some another literature on that odors, because if we think about it, some cultures, they, I'm not here to educate all of us, but if we're all aware of that, some cultures don't wear deodorants, they don't wear, highly scented perfume and stuff like that. They are naturally, have their natural scent. So I just want to be careful with that, so that way it's inviting. And my odor, if it's going to be offended, well, that's up to you. That's me. But I want to come use the library. So just being on both sides and being sensitive to that area. But we can go ahead and endorse this. And I thank you, Jayla. Thank you so much. Thank you, my colleagues, for all the feedbacks.
Thank you.
Okay, so now it's trustees' reports. And the board, one thing, number 4 right there is board vacancies. Mr. Stout, do you kind of have any tiny idea where we at? Oh, that's a shake.
I'm sorry, I do not have anything to report right now in terms of appointments.
Okay, thank you so much. My colleagues, if you know anybody that you feel that today would love to learn about what we do in the library commissions and trustee, yeah, go ahead and spread the word out. I've been asking people, and like, oh, they feel that it's boring. I'm like, wow, okay.
We gotta amp up our game, Teresa.
So,
Mine's a different. I've tried to recruit 2 people, and someone beat me to recruiting them. So I gotta expand my recruitment pool. I'm committed to still trying to find someone.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Well, Selena and the communications team have been working the social media angle as well. So hopefully.
Thank you. And hopefully it's on our website too, on the Daly City Bulletin board. Yeah.
A flyer. Yes, we can add a flyer.
Yeah, a flyer. That would be nice. Okay. So right now we're moving to a report from the Daly City Public Library Associates.
Thank you so much. I always enjoy the opportunity to say hi to everybody and to share news. And, every time we give a grant, I'm super excited about it. It just pleases me so much whenever we can do something to help the library. But I want to say that the next grant that we're giving is particularly special to me because it is directly for the Bayshore branch. I had a DCPLA member come to me and he asked if he could donate towards a specific branch. And I was like, sure, why not? And ended up talking to Chayla, about what needs the Bayshore branch has in particular. And she came up with a list of things and we brought it to the member and he was like, let's do it, all of it. So at the next city council, it might not be the next one. Well, the one on September 27th, I will be presenting a grant for $6,000 to go to the Bayshore branch for outdoor Wi-Fi, which I think is super important. You know, that particular location, the reason that he chose Bayshore is because he felt that they really could use a little extra love. And, you know, I totally support that. Why not? And so they will have outdoor Wi-Fi and also some more of the Playway launch pads, which I think really benefits all of our young people who, you know, they can put, the library can choose learning apps that can go on there. So the donor chose to remain anonymous and have the grant under the name of a loved one, Gordon L. King grant. And we're hoping that this grant will inspire other members to do similar grants. You know, it's a wonderful way to honor a loved one if you have something, you know, you can give to the library and kind of create a legacy for someone you care about. So hopefully we will be able to publicize that in such a way that others will be like, what a great idea, I'm going to do that too. So in addition to that, I wanted to mention that we are about to launch our search for the next Daly City Youth Poet Laureate. I can't believe it's time to start thinking about that again already. But, you know, I got to say our current Youth Poet Laureate, Madeline Herr, has been everything we could have ever hoped that, you know, we would get. You know, the pandemic has really kept her from being in the public eye, I think, as much as she would be if, you know, someday when we're able to have more public events. But, you know, she really has been out there and she's been helpful and she's been representing us at different poetry events. And, you know, I'm just really excited to find out who else will be able to come in. We plan to launch our search in October and keep about the same schedule as before, where the judging will happen in the month of February, and then we'll have some sort of event to announce our winner in April, which is National Poetry Month. So stay tuned, looking for information about that. And I would appreciate your help sharing with any, you know, teenagers 13 to 18 who either live in Daly City or go to school in Daly City. Either one is fine. And, you know, we can't wait to find out what else we have coming in. And the next thing, I'm wondering, is it okay for me to share my screen for a moment? Is that allowed? Yeah, because I've got a flyer. We've got our upcoming used book sale. So I'd just like to share the screen with you. Is that showing the book sale?
Yes.
Thanks. So we were supposed to have this in 2020 and we had to cancel it after we had already advertised it and everything. But the board decided that, you know, it's kind of, if people are grocery shopping and going to Target, you know, I think that they can also attend the used book sale. We graciously, Westlake Center has donated a space for us, an empty storefront. It's right in between Kick City and Nick the Greek in that corridor. I believe it's called Westlake Center Drive. I don't think it's actually named though, but it's that main driveway that goes right through the shopping center. So it's a great, you know, visible spot, a beautiful big space, and we could really use help with volunteers, you know, to help us with sorting and setup and the sale dates and the teardown. So I would ask, you know, I would love to see each of our trustees sign up for a shift to help us. There's 2-hour shifts to volunteer, and you can sign up for as many shifts as you like. And if you know anybody else you think would help, I think it'll actually be really fun. You know, like, who doesn't want to check out all the books, and then you get first dibs on what you want to buy. So I had already sent this flyer to Chela. Are you able to give it to the trustees as well, Chela?
Yes, I can email it out.
Awesome. So there's a sign up sheet that's like a sign up genius. And yeah, I would love to see your help and also help promoting. I haven't yet created the promotional materials for the sale itself, but I hope that you will encourage friends and family, and you yourself will come in and buy some books. And, you know, it's a great way to be environmentally conscious and also just a nice community event. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Victoria. First of all, is it okay if I invite you to also come and share the good news in our school district board meeting about the grant? I will send you the email. It's on this. It's coming up I will let you know. I'll let you know the day and the time. They will love to hear it.
I
That's
would
another
love
way to
I would love that. That would be wonderful. And if I can't make it, I can probably recruit
Right.
one of my board members too. Because
Okay.
yeah, I really I'd already talked to Chayla in our DCPLA board meeting about like how can we get the word out to the Bayshore community to make sure that they're able to take care of that, take advantage of the Wi-Fi in particular, because I
Right.
think that could be a really useful thing. So sure, send me the information. Thank you for that.
Okay. And also, I would like to invite our poet for October 16th for the Bayshore Block Party. She can, I'm on the entertainment committee putting together the lineup. So if she wanted to participate, it's her other way of putting herself out there to the Bayshore community.
That would be wonderful. We have really been struggling to find opportunities for her to be out there. So I'll, have to check with her and see if she's available, of course. But
Yes.
I was already planning on attending the blocks party myself. I've got it on my calendar. So I already have the information about that, and I will definitely pass it along. And hopefully she can come out and, maybe read a few of her poems.
Right.
Is that what you're
That would be
thinking?
nice. Yes, that would be beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for the invitation.
Okay. My colleagues.
Yeah, Victoria, you had me at you get first dibs, so I will indeed sign up for shift. I think in terms of book donations, I have a bunch of children's books, and then I also have, so I don't know, during the pandemic, everyone has decided to give me the similar set of books. So I'll have like doubles and triples of some of my books. I'd be happy to donate them. But also just like support you all to gather some donations. Do you have a deadline for when you're hoping to get all of those donations in?
Well, actually more like I don't want them before October 25th because I don't have anywhere to store them. So we have the space at Westlake October 25th. So that week, I think really anywhere between October 25th and the last day of the sale, it's going to be the 2 weekends, October 30th, 31st, and then November 6th and 7th. So I would say between October 25th and November 5th would be ideal if people can just bring them right to the site. And actually children's books is what I hear. That's what really moves the best. So especially children's books, but any donations we're happy to take and appreciate it.
Okay.
I love books, so I'll also sign up for that. And I'm excited for the grant as well. Yeah, I just appreciate like what everyone's doing for the libraries and for Daly City residents. I'm excited to see, now that we're still in a pandemic, but we can like now be like in person. So I'm just excited to see what's next.
I think that's it for DCPLA. Thank you very much. Announcements and communications for any of the board members? Well, those announcements, Bayshore is having a community cleanup day on the Saturday on the 25th. It's from 8:30 to 11:30. So if you're one of those individuals just love to clean and weed, that kind of like cleaning, picking up garbages and stuff like that, we'll love to take you. It's from 8:30 to 11:30, and the block party on the 16th. And also I got there's a Steven, if you can, what was that again? Like I have the flyer, we can share that too. Make a Difference Day?
It's called Make a Difference Day. We have a free recycling event at City Hall on Saturday, October 23rd.
Right.
It's the fourth Saturday of October every year. And we also have volunteer events throughout the city that day. So you can sign up as an individual or a group to host a cleanup, and the city will provide all the supplies and coordination, or you can visit our recycling event with e-waste, used tire take back, mattress recycling, and more. So we'll send out the flyer to the group.
Hey, colleagues, what if we plan to do a cleanup day or for libraries? We'll pick a library that needed a cleanup outside. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that would be cool.
Okay. Okay. Look at myself just saying.
Yeah. There we
Okay.
go.
Okay. So we'll plan more on that. Stephen, we're okay with the three of us talking about that, and we're not with the Brown Act.
Oh, that's totally fine.
Okay.
And there's also a barbecue lunch at City Hall afterwards. So
Oh,
kind of, yeah.
we'll be there. Okay. And those are the announcements from me. Let's move on to agenda building for next meeting. So I have here, I want to revisit again the Bayshore hours for next meeting. And I also want to look at other policies, like I want to pick the policy collection department and the 3D fee, the 3D printer fees. Is that covered under the fine and Jayla?
So for 3D printing, we
Yes,
actually
3D.
we're not currently charging anything.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, Miss Jayla, I know you have more knowledge than myself. Is there any other policy that you felt at this point that we need to pay attention to? I know that we did two today. So, is there any other policy that you felt like the need to revisit and revise, please?
I think it might be worth, but I'll have to do a little research looking at our computer use policy, just
Okay.
because it hasn't been looked at in a while. It's always good. I really appreciate the work that you guys are doing. And then the collection development policy has come up before. We have these library staff that have really taken a lead on that. I know in particular that some of the staff are doing some workshops on auditing collections, making sure your collections are inclusive and reflective of your community. So it's a good time to take a look at that as well.
Okay. So would you be able to, with your staff, to look into those policies first, and then if you kind of filled any modification, and then you send it to us, and before we meet, and then if we felt the need to ask the questions, I wanted to make sure that, you know, the questions or any clarifications is brought to your attention before we meet. So that way you kind of understood where all of us are coming from, and if needed to research for more understanding or more clarification. Is that something that it's okay with you, colleagues? So the three policies that we're going to be for our next meeting, we can all take it, and our homework is to check it out, and then Jayla at the same time will look at it and see what some modifications from their side felt it's aligned with what's going on in the libraries and the staffing.
I'll go ahead and email a link to these three particular policies so you can see what they look like at this time.
Oh, no, I have it with me, but I just want to make sure that, so if you can go ahead, and if you felt that right away that there's something that you need to put there or something that needs to be taken out, and then after you make that modification, if you can shoot it to us, so that way we can look at it ahead of time, and then we'll discuss it in the meeting, if that's okay. And if we have any question, I can ask you before the meeting.
Okay. I think so, to the extent that that's permissible with the Brown Act.
I would suggest that Shayla can certainly send out any edited or suggested edits for the policy in advance, but that we have the discussion during the Library Board of Trustees meeting.
Thank you for that clarification and for reminding me that. Okay, is there anything else, colleagues, that needs to be in our meeting? for the
No,
agenda next time?
I don't know if we'll like talk before then, Teresa, but that is like the meeting right before Make a Difference Day. So I don't know if you might just want to carve out time to like finish planning or something together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then following up with like the vacancies too.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so if there's nothing else,
One more thing, our next meeting will most likely still be virtual. Just letting you all know, there was
Okay.
a period of time where the governor had rescinded that pandemic order and we would have to go back to in-person meetings, but it looks like there's legislation that just came through that will allow for Zoom. So we'll let you know if anything changes, but for now we can plan for a Zoom meeting.
I love Zoom. Thank you so much for whoever invented Zoom. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Stephen. Oh, now it's public comment. I want to remind all speakers that you're limited to 2 minutes unless modified by the library board. Right. Well, who is the president now? And the board cannot take any action on any matter raised under this item. So just want to remind our public if there's any public comment. We'll now turn the time over to our public. To the public.
So if there's any member of the public that would like to speak, please use the raise hand feature and we'll call you by name. Okay. Gerald Lim, if you'd like to unmute yourself, I'll be timing you for 2 minutes.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So I want to start.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, council members. My name is Gerald Lim, and I live right here in Daly City, in the older neighborhood between the top of the hill and the BART station. I'm a senior at Sacred Heart Cathedral Preparatory and was fortunate enough to participate in the American Heart Association's Youth Health Equity Council's internship program this past year. One of the issues that we covered extensively was vaping. Perhaps most of you know, vaping is a rapidly growing issue among youths. In 2019, 30% of all high schoolers reported vaping. In 2018, only 20% of high schoolers vaped. In addition to high schoolers, middle schoolers have also begun to pick up vaping. 11% reported to vape in 2019 and 5% the year before. The long-term effects of vaping are still unknown, but with the massive amounts of nicotine in e-cigarettes, as much as 5% nicotine, which equates to roughly 1 pack per vape cartridge, the effects on the mind could be detrimental. There are many students in my school vaping. I have seen classmates changing their vapes in the classroom, sometimes even during class. I see many students vaping in the bathrooms. On occasion, I've also heard my peers casually talking about vaping later in the day. I'm here this evening because I want to bring this issue up to youths in my community. One of the things we learned in the Health Equity Council is that most users don't know that there's a large amount of nicotine, which is highly addictive. In addition, there are other harmful substances in each cartridge. I reached out to the FDA and ordered posters that are directed towards teens. These posters warn and inform people about the dangerous substances inside of each vape. I've posted some of these posters in my school library, classrooms, cafeteria, gym, and some other places that have high foot traffic. I've also provided some to the Daly City School Board members. I'm urging the libraries in Daly City to do the same to reach as many people as possible. I realize that everyone is concerned with the COVID-19 pandemic, but I hope we don't lose track of other dangers like vaping, which were happening before the pandemic hit. Please let me know how I can provide the posters to you. And one example of the posters I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Gerald. Okay. Anybody else? Nope. Wow, it's 2 minutes to 7. Okay, so I applaud that young man for having the courage to come here and voice what you believe in. Really kudos to you. Thank you very much. If there's nothing else, the meeting is adjourned at 6:58, and I wish all of you a beautiful, enjoy the weather week, and stay safe. Thank you so much for everything.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Goodbye.
Thank you.